guys, you're listening to Rogue Calvinist Radio. We've got a very special episode planned for you tonight, a little different than usual. As you can see by the title, we are generating one of the characters that's going to be playing with us next Friday in our long-awaited Dungeons & Dragons campaign. We've got Bones the Bunnies on with us as a guest tonight, and we're going to be generating a character using the 3.5 handbook. That's what my expertise is in. And so anyone watching this video will be able to go on to create their own character. I'm going to be as thorough as possible. So thanks everyone for joining. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get Bones the Bunny on the screen here. And our player's handbook. Let's see here. Whoops. There we go. Now, can you guys see the player's handbook? Yes, you can. All right, good. So let me go there. Hey, Bones, can you hear me, man? Go ahead and unmute yourself if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great, man. Now, see, Bones told me earlier that he had you had some experience in Baldur's Gate, right?
Yeah, so I only played Baldur's Gate 3, the new one that came out, and that's pretty much all the experience I have with anything like D&D like.
You said Baldur's Gate 3, like the
Yes,
recent one
yeah.
that just
So,
came out?
yeah, the recent one that just came out. That's pretty much like all the experience I have with
Okay.
anything D&D like.
Okay. Well, you know, Baldur's Gate is really good experience for playing D&D. It's you know, this is what that is based off of. And so you should be you should be pretty good, though I think that the Baldur's Gate 3 that came out was based off of 5th edition rules, but I think you'll find them very similar to 3.5. If um, Now 3.5 is a little more complicated, I'd say, than 5th edition, but it's not like in the game Baldur's Gate you have to be aware of the rules as much as you would here, you know. So at any rate, have you given any thought? I know that you said you wanted to maybe do a fighter.
Yeah, to the type of character I wanted to create. Yeah, that's pretty much all the thought I gave to it. I wanted to come in here fresh and just learn and determine, like, I guess off of that what I would
Okay.
want to do.
Yeah, well, so the best thing to do really is the first thing to do is to determine you want to determine your race and class kind of together as a bundle, you know, because
Mhm.
different races have different bonuses to different stats, and different stats are relevant in different ways for different classes, right? So whenever you're designing your character concept, you kind of want to think of those things at the same time. And though you don't absolutely have to, for example, if you just knew you wanted to be an elf, then you know you would go to the chapter 2 races here, and you're going to need to do this anyway, but and we're not going to use the standard rules for abilities. We're going to make the characters pretty survivable. And so in the races here,
Okay.
here's the primary races here for Dungeons and Dragons. And this, of course, is human, halfling, gnome, half orc, dwarf, half elf, and elf. Oh, can you guys see? You guys can't see that on the video, can you? All right. I'm gonna figure out a way to circumvent that so that you can see it when I navigate away from this screen. I may have to. Give me 1 second here. So I want to be able to be mobile with my screen here while you're looking at it, and I think what if I do it like this? Exit full screen. Now, can you guys still see it? Or does it go away as soon as I. What in the world? Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us while I rarely use Discord. I've actually never used it for streaming. And so that's where the difficulties are coming in here. Okay, so now what if I put it on Discord and do. Okay. I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's just move on from that. So here's a little chart you can see here. You can see the main screen now if you're watching on YouTube. I guess you don't really need to see our profile pictures. But what he has is the standard 3.5 character sheet. It's 2 pages. It's pretty good. There is a 4 page one that's pretty good too, but the standard is good enough. Um, so when you choose a race, you're going to have these different ability adjustments here, right? For example, a human is neutral. He's got no ability adjustments. Just um, whatever you choose is what you got, right, for your abilities. So, but a dwarf has +2 to Constitution and -2 to Charisma. So, they're not as good looking as humans, but they're tougher. They're more durable. And then that follows. Can you read this well enough, or do I need to zoom in for you? Let's zoom
No,
into
I
this
could read it
chart
just fine.
just for anybody in the crowd that might need to see that better. And you have, there's another thing to consider, which is each race has a favored class, except for humans and half elves. Um, and that means that you can multi-class into that class without taking any experience points negatives. See, in Dungeons and Dragons, whenever you start out as one class, if you multi-class on your next level up into something else, you'll be taking an experience negative the further away those levels get from each other. And so that's kind of
Mm.
complicated. But if you, for example, if you're an elf, your favored class for your race is a wizard. And so that actually doesn't come into play. If you, for example, start as a fighter and then you multi-class into a wizard, there would be no experience negative just because it's a favored class. It's easy for you to transition to that.
Mm.
So that's a quick breakdown of what you're seeing in this chart here. And that's going to help you determine if you want a fighter type. What this chart is going to help you determine is what kind of fighter you'll be, right? Though it's not, Dungeons and Dragons is very customizable, but it'll give you a general direction. For example, you know that if you're a human fighter, you're going to you're going to have an incredible amount of extra feats, right? Because fighters get a lot of feats instead of specific special abilities given by their class. You get feats that you get to choose from a large list, and humans get more feats than any other class. And so
Mm.
you know that if you're a human fighter, you're probably going to be an expert. You know what I mean? An expert in a lot of various forms of combat. But if you are, for example, an elf fighter, then you have a +2 to dexterity, but you have a -2 to constitution, so you're not as tough as a human. And so that kind of gives you a guiding post to say this character is more likely to be more fragile but quicker on his feet, and so it's a different kind of fighter. I'm going to be choosing finesse feats and feats that help me do attack uh, make successful attacks according to my dexterity, right? Because you get a +2 to dexterity
Mm.
here, and we'll go through all of that kind of stuff. But that'll give you an idea as a fighter. For example, if you were a dwarf fighter, then you know, well, this guy is tanky. He can take a lot of damage, and so you build him up around that idea.
Right. Well, I think I would like to go human. I was planning on that before, but seems a lot more simple for me. So
Yeah, and human is going to be the best choice for this campaign too,
okay.
because I think pretty much all other races other than humans that are sentient in this campaign are going to be considered abominations. And so,
Wow.
yeah, everyone's kind of against humans in this. Like humans are surrounded on all sides by enemies, including these other races.
Oh, okay. Got you. So they're like the canon race that you'd be, I guess.
Yeah, right. For the story that we are in, human is going to be the best. Now, I would have let you choose one of these races just to stick with the um, format and the style of Dungeons and Dragons, but we would have just worked it into the campaign in a fancy way, to where he's not
Right.
quite the same as others. But at any rate, human is the best choice for this campaign, and a lot would say that human is probably the best choice for a fighter, especially if you take time to consider your feats that you choose. And so it does make it much more simple. And like I said, we're not going to use the standard ability, the way that you determine your abilities. Now that you've determined your race and class, that's really the first thing we do. Like the actual first thing we do now is it's going to be you determining where you're going to put your ability stats out of your um, 5 stats that are available to you, or 6 stats that are available to you. You get right strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, 6, right? And so that is going to equal out to you get what we're going to do is you get 1 18. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, 18 is actually the cap for a level 1 character. Well, a human at least. But so while an elf has a +2 to dexterity, then his cap for dexterity instead of 18 would be 20. But humans, the cap for all stats is 18 at level 1. And then at level 4, you get +1 to add to any one of those. And it's typically going to be the one that you choose to be 18 because clearly your character is um, specializing in that. But if for some reason you wanted to get another 18 down the road instead of building up that one, then that would be fine. But let me explain a little bit further. So you're going to get, if you have a scrap piece of paper, possibly write down
Yeah, I got my journal here.
18, 16, 16, 14, 14, 14. And those are pretty high. Those are
And
very
one.
high stats. Um, what? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So you said 18, 16, 16, 14, 14, and 14. Is there a
Yes.
one in there or no?
No.
Okay.
Right. So you've got 16 numbers there total. Now, in a regular game, or depending on your DM and depending on the campaign you're playing, you're going to have most likely much lower stats than that. But however, if you're watching this to figure out how to make a character, whatever your DM says is the rule that you're going by. This helps to determine the kind of the strength of your characters, what direction that's going to go in as far as their durability and stuff. So we want very high level, epic quality characters in this campaign. So we're going to use that. Now, from there, what you want to do is go ahead and choose to assign those to different places. And you want to keep in mind that, you know, those first three stats, the strength, dexterity, and constitution, those are kind of the primary um, stats for a fighter. Now, depending on what direction you want to go, um, first of all, understand. Well, I guess that's irrelevant. Um, Depending on what direction you want to go with the character, will decide which of those three sets you put the 18 in. Like if you're intending to have a character that does a lot of damage with his strikes, then you want an 18 in strength. If you want a character who is harder to hit, you would put it in dexterity. But then if you do put it in at dexterity, you'll also consider using weapon finesse, is what we talked about earlier, which is you're more of a skilled tactician, tactical fighter, dexterity fighter than a brute fighter. And then a constitution, if you put 18 in
Mhm.
that, that would be a fighter that's based around the idea that you're taking a lot of damage. So at the very least, someone who's intentionally upfront in combat. Now, a dexterity is going to help you with ranged combat. And so if you were trying to specialize in archer or something like that, then you would want to go in that direction. But like I said,
Mm.
fighters are proficient in a lot of different weapons, and so are humans. And so you're going to have a large array of weapons available to you to use. So take advantage of that while we're building the character. You'll have the option, for example, to use a ranged weapon and a one-handed sword, and probably even have a two-handed sword on you if you wanted, just for certain situations. But
Right.
at any rate, now that I've rambled all that through, go ahead
Um,
and lightly in pencil, by the way. Did you have a question?
okay. Yeah, yeah. So so dexterity, that's for like throwing and range weapons and things like that. Does it have any use for like swords, like one-handed, two-handed?
Hey, sorry, I got people calling for me.
Okay, you're good. Oh, you want me to repeat it?
No, hang on one second. My kids are hollering
Oh,
at
okay.
me. Okay, go ahead with your question again. Sorry about that, man.
Oh, you're good. Okay, so for the dexterity that you were talking about, is it only useful for like throwing and like range weapons, or can it be useful for like one-handed or two-handed weapons? And if it can be, then like how?
So, yes, it can be useful for one-handed weapons, typically not two-handed weapons though, but one-handed weapons, yes, but certain categories, that's only light weapons like short sword, dagger, stuff like that. Anything that's in a light weapon category, you would be able to, if you got the perk, the feat rather, weapon finesse, then instead of using your strength modifier to determine whether or not you hit someone when you roll, you would add your dexterity modifier instead if you had the weapon finesse perk.
Hmm. Okay. Man, what to choose? Okay. I think I'm gonna go because I want to use like a two-handed sword as like my main weapon.
Okay.
So I think I'm gonna go strength 18. I put this in ability score, correct?
Yeah. In the, well, actually, you need to, whichever one you're going to put in 18, probably put as 19 because you get +1 when you get into level 4, and we're starting as level 6 instead of level 1.
Okay. Put that as 19 then. Um so yeah, strength I'm put 19. Dexterity. Oh man. Okay, so if I'm like gonna be going strength, is there any use in like having dexterity high as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So, because Dex, no matter if you're specializing in damage or not, dexterity is still going to increase your armor class, right? It's going to make you harder to hit still, which is still good, right? And then your constitution is
Mhm.
still going to give you more hit points. It's still going to make you more durable. You know, you're still going to be quicker on your feet the higher your dexterity is. And so all of those things play into your character in total. And so with those other two,
Mm.
and so the primary, those first three are going to be the primary stats for a fighter: the strength, constitution, and dexterity. The only time that you, the only time that you would ever consider raising one of the other stats is if you wanted to, if there was a specific skill that you wanted to focus on as like a primary function of your character, like diplomacy and bluff, like bluffing people and diplomacy, for example, if you, or lying even would go into that, like charisma. Like there's certain skills that
Mhm.
go with charisma, right? And if you wanted your character to function to go in to have a skill that's like music, even if you're not a bard, you could still, have that skill, but or any skill like that. But that's a little more complex, and we can certainly go into that if you have some ideas already, because there's about every skill that you can pretty much imagine as a skill in that time setting, right? And so you can be pretty creative. And for example, if you chose to put one of your 16s in intelligence, that would give you more more skill points in general to choose from, and so your character would be a more jack of all trades skill wise than other fighters if you had a 16 intelligence. Or if you put it in wisdom, you know, your fighter could be exceptionally skilled in things like tracking and Um, I think searching is intelligence, but there's other wisdom based skills that would apply to that. And you can see those actually on
Mhm.
your character sheet. Let's go to the character sheet real quick online here on the book. I think it might be on the last page, actually. Yeah. So, right here on each skill, like let's say you, let's look at something else actually. Well, let's look at this and then we'll jump to that. So, you see these black boxes next to each skill, the little black boxes?
Yes.
Some of them have that and some don't, right?
Mhm.
The black box means that you can use that skill whether you have been trained in it or not, right? Like the skill listen, right? You can strain your ears to listen to something whether you have any classical training in how to do that better or not, right?
Yeah.
And so next to listen, you've got your it says wisdom over there to the right. And so that
Mhm.
means that this skill is tied to your wisdom stat. And so, if you wanted a fighter who was exceptionally perceptive, right, then you might get a 16 so that you could get some of these um, wisdom related skills. That's just an example. Now, there's another very important thing to consider about these skills in relation to the stats you're going to pick. And that's the idea that each of these skills, there's another checkbox to the left of the skill. See it?
Yes.
And that's blank because that's for you to actually go through and check based on another chart, which is, um, let's go see what page that's on. That'll be easier if we do it that way from now on. Classes, fighter, page 37. Okay. So in this chart, actually, it's not in a chart, it's in a list. So let me back up. Where's, okay, 37 right here. That's the druid. Okay, here's where the fighter starts. Cool picture of a dwarven fighter here. I drew that when I was like 12, like copying it on a piece of
Oh,
paper.
nice.
I used to love drawing pictures out of this book. Okay, you see this right here? It says class skills. I'm going to
Yes.
read off to you your class skills. And what I'm going to read off to you is in alphabetical order. So that's going to make it pretty easy. And as I name the skill to you, put a check mark in the box. And then after we do that, I'll explain why we did that.
Okay.
The first one is climb,
Okay.
craft,
Okay.
handle animal,
Okay.
intimidate,
Okay.
jump,
Okay.
ride,
Okay.
swim.
Okay.
All right, now that's it. Now, as you can see, fighters have a very small amount of skills, whereas rogues' check marks are nearly full on everything, right? They got a lot of skills and they got a lot of skill points. It's their primary function. But with the fighters, not so much. Now, with a higher, everyone gets a certain amount of skill points, and it's different for each class. On your scrap piece of paper, I want you to write skills and then underneath it put level one.
S oh, you want me to put that on my
Yeah, like on
scrap?
a
Okay.
scrap piece of
So
paper. Yeah.
skills.
Yeah, say skills at
Okay.
or put skill points at level 1. You can label it that way.
Okay.
And so this is going to be in parentheses put 2 plus intelligence modifier, and we're going to
2.
go into more about what that is in a moment too.
Okay.
And then in the parentheses after modifier, and then times 4. Okay.
Okay.
So this is what you'll be choosing, and when you write these in, do it very lightly because it's going to be changing very soon. We're going to do the level ones. We're going to do one at a time. We're going to level the skills up one at a time later, toward the end, because I want you to be able to select your skills at each level as if you were really leveling up, so that you actually have an organic skill set. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Um, okay. So now that you have your check boxes, these are all your class skills. These are all skills that are easier for your class to learn. And by easier, I mean that getting a rank in a skill is 1 per 1. That's how much it costs. One rank costs 1 skill point if it's a class skill. But
Okay.
one rank in a non-class skill costs 2 points. So if you got a checkbox,
Mm.
then you buy it straight up 1 for 1, right? But if it's not a checkbox, then not. Unless, of course, you get some kind of feat that um, circumvents that in some way. But for now that you have that basic concept in mind, let's go back to look at your um, abilities really quick. So, this ability stats that you put in, what I'm about to tell you is called the ability modifier. You're going to see the label modifier next to. Let's go to the character sheet. Actually, that'll probably be the best place for me to explain it at. Okay, so like strength. Um, your ability score is 19, right?
Yes.
1 second. I'm sorry, man. I will be right back.
Oh, you're all good.
All right, I'm back. Let's let me get this going here.
Oh, by the way, Twitchy asked in chat if he could come on in half an hour to talk D&D.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's cool, but I want to also focus on getting the character done.
Yeah.
But we'll get it done. Let me make sure my volume is good on this. I'm going to turn it down on here some so that you're still pretty loud. I just put on a little ambient D&D music there to so it's maybe easier to listen to. Okay, so
Right.
this isn't that complicated, but it can be kind of difficult to catch at first. But as soon as you do, you'll be like, oh, okay, duh. And you might immediately. But okay, so the modifier works like this. This is how you calculate what your modifier is. Okay, you look at the number, and for every 2 points above 10, you get 1 point of modifier. Right? So
Okay.
if you had 10, it would be 0. 12 would be 1. 14 is 2. 16 is 3. And 18 is 4. You understand?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now at 19, it still stays at +4. No change. It doesn't change until it actually hits 20.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So with the abilities that the numbers that you had me like fill in, I think I would like to do strength 19, like 18, then it's not getting the +1. 19, dexterity 16. I'm actually gonna put my constitution at 14, intelligence 14, wisdom 14. I want to try to have my charisma higher, so I'm put that at 16.
Okay.
So
good deal. Can you
just so that I can like bluff and stuff like that,
It's definitely a good skill to have. And you can build your character in so many different ways. That your imagination is the limit. And so that's a good thing about promoting rare choices. This is going to help flesh out the character. But at any rate, can you also read to me now what you have is for ability modifiers?
Yeah, so first one would be +4. 16, it would be my dex would be +3. Constitution would be +2. Intelligence +2, wisdom +2, and charisma +3 as well.
+3, right, on charisma?
Yes,
Okay.
+3.
Okay, so let's go back to the chart here. I always like to do skills in this order since they're so tied together. Okay. So the formula that we wrote down earlier, the 2 plus your intelligence modifier, that actually has a value now. So change it to the real life value, which is what, 2? 2 plus 2, right?
Yes.
Okay. So 2 plus 2, 4 times 4 is 16. So you get 16 points. Now, before you start putting them places, go ahead and write 16 somewhere at level 1, 16 points. And when you look at the skills, there's going to be several boxes on there. Sorry, I'm trying to find the character sheet. Okay, here we go. What you're going to be choosing right now is ranks. Points by ranks in a skill. And
Okay.
at level 1, you can put in a maximum of 4 ranks in any class skill. Okay, so at level 1, see, in every other level, you can only add 1 skill point to different things. But this is where the ×4 comes in, because they want a level 1 character to have more than just a +1 at a skill, because it would make it really hard to be successful at anything. So they did a system where you get ×4 the points at level 1 than you do in any other level. And again, it's 1 for 1 on the class skills, but it's best practice to go ahead and spend on any skill that you do choose at level 1 to spend the maximum amount of points on it that you can in that level. So like, if you got climb, it would be best practice to go ahead and put 4 ranks in it and then knock yourself down to 12 points. If you got a cross class skill, it would be best practice, or well, it's only possible to get 2, right? Because you spend 4 points on it, but it only creates 2 ranks because it's cross class. And so no matter what skill you pick, it's best practice to go ahead and choose to use all of the points that you can in first level. So what you need to do right now is choose to spend 4 points 4 times, right? And so basically you're going to come out of this with 4 skills. And now, as far as your character being, remember now that you can use all of these skills untrained that have a black box next to it. So you're still going to be more skilled at those type of skills when they have the charisma next to it. Even if you don't get it right now, your character's still going to be better at it. And there are feats that you can get that increase your ability at those skills. We'll talk about feats later. For now, choose 4 skills. It doesn't matter if it's class skill or cross class. It could be all check mark or no check marks. It's a good guide to let you know what's best for your character. But if it's a cross class
Right.
that you pick, put a 2 in the rank and put it very lightly, because it's about to be a race when we get done with the rest of the character. If it's
Okay, and I do this 4 times, right?
yeah, choose 4 skills, and if it's a class skill, put a 4 in the rank. If it's a cross class skill, meaning it doesn't have a check mark, then put a 2 in the rank. And you go ahead and do that. I'm going to turn the music up a little bit, and I'm going to step away for just a second to grab a drink and a cigar. And you let me know when you've chosen your 4. I'll let you know when I'm back.
Okay. I don't know what to choose.
By the way, I just realized that you may have questions about what the skills do, and just hang on. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Okay, Bones. Thanks for bearing with me, man. So, do you have any questions about any of the skills? Most of them are going to be self-explanatory. I realize some of them are not going to be.
I don't really have many questions. I'll see, but I think I want to do for the 4 bluff, climb, intimidate, and disguise. I'm guessing disguise is just like you put on something and you pretend you're somebody, right?
Yeah, you can use
Like you're a
disguise, and let me show you how we. So at any time you can go and get to this PDF, like in between sessions and things like that. If you want to study about your character type and or different rules. Ow, ow.
Okay.
Sorry, I hurt myself. 61. So this is the chapter on skills. We'll go down to disguise. Take a little bit to find skill descriptions, balance, bluff. They have a very in-depth description on every one of those skills, which is nice.
Okay.
Disguise. It says use this skill to change your appearance or someone else's. The effort requires at least a few props, some makeup, and you need enough time to do it. You need to use a disguise kit to actually make use of the skill. Well, actually, that gives you a +2 circumstance bonus if you have a disguise kit. Just makeup will do. Disguise can include an apparent change of height or weight of no more than 1/10 the original height or weight. It's got different things like that. All right, and now this is what your check is. Like if you say you're trying, okay, I'm trying to use a disguise skill. This is what happens. You roll the dice, and you'll come up with the number that we're about to determine in a second. And that's going to be whatever you land on the dice. That's how good your disguise is, right? And that's, you keep that for that disguise. And you may or may, if it's a bad disguise and you didn't roll good, you have to roll kind of again to whether or not you notice it's good or bad. And so you may be thinking you're straight, and I never tell you that it's not a good disguise, and you walk and get noticed. It's possible,
Right.
but you know, a lot of nuances like that. But if you don't draw any attention to yourself, others do not get to make spot checks. So if you do a disguise and you're not drawing attention to yourself, as in you're just walking with your head down, you know, not doing anything that draws attention, then no one's even going to roll a spot check. But if you do something that draws attention, like make a distraction or whatever it is that you could do to draw attention, attack someone, whatever, at that point, the person who you're in their eyesight is going to roll a dice, and they're going to add their spot skill. And if it's higher than what you rolled for your disguise check, then they're going to see past it.
Okay.
So that's,
Yeah, that makes sense.
that's a good rundown of how skills work in general. It's always a check versus something else. And it could be the difficulty on a lock, for example, is the check you're trying to check against. Like, it's called a difficulty class. Like a lock with a DC of 24 means you have to roll a 24 to break it. So, including your bonuses. So now you've chosen your 4, right?
Yes.
How many of them were cross class?
2 were cross class, 2 were within the class.
Can you tell me quickly which ones you chose again?
Yeah. So I chose bluff, climb, Disguise and Intimidate.
Disguise and intimidate. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Those are pretty good to have. Okay, and you went ahead and wrote the rank in that,
The
right?
ranks. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Okay, and so now to the left of the rank, you'll see at the top here the ability modifier box, and that's what the left number is. And so now what you're going to do is to those four skills and to any skill that has a black box next to it, you want to write in your ability modifier that correlates to that skill. Right? So climb, be strength. Put a 4 in the ability modifier, a 4 in the rank, 4 plus 4 would be an 8 in your total for the skill modifier in the box, the main box. So
Okay.
with an 8 skill modifier, that means when you roll a 20-sided dice to climb, let's say you roll a 15, you add 8 to it. And so really you rolled a 23.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. So next one for me would be bluff. So I put what is this, a +3? So I get a 5 for disguise, also 3, 5, and then intimidate. It's +3, so that's 7. Okay, and I do that for all the black boxes.
Yeah, do that also with every one that has a black box on it. If you don't have anything in the rank, then the rank is just 0, right? And so for example, appraise would be +2 modifier. So you got 2 in a skill modifier.
Okay, got you.
And so you do get more skills than just those 4 to be able to use because of the that part. And the fact that your character has, pretty high stats all around the board, really there's nothing that's low. You'll be able to make use of quite a few skills. And in Dungeons and Dragons, how it really differs from playing something like Baldur's Gate is that, like, what I tell you and whatever maps I bring, that's this video game screen. Like your imagination based on of what I'm
Mhm.
telling you with my words. That's where the video screen is happening at in your head, right? While you're imagining what we're doing, and you're using all these things to add rules to make it organized, and your imagination. See, you'll be practicing. I mean, you're going to be using the same kind of imagination that you use in real life because, right, you are using a consistent set of rules to determine what's possible for you to do. It's not like Imagination Dragon, like Lucid Dreaming World. You can't just decide to take off flying into the air, right? That's not realistic. You can only do
Mhm.
things that are realistic according to the physics, according to the rules of the game. And so as you but other than that, the sky really is the limit. Anything that you can imagine. So it's different in than a video game in the sense that there's no direction you have to go in ever. You do anything that you can imagine. You know what I mean? If you like you're on the middle of a quest and then for no reason you go the wrong fork in the road and just keep going to see what you know what I mean? And or
Yeah.
just go somewhere else, do something different, jump on the table at the bar. You know what I mean? Throw the cup across the room, whatever you can think of. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to get you to because you'll want to constantly be using your imagination in that way to determine how you can use your skills during gameplay, you know?
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah, I did a lot of I've done like a lot of role play. So just like without the I guess the system for abilities and feats and things like that.
Oh,
But
okay. So you
pretty
said,
much like same. Sorry, go ahead.
what did you play?
No, so what I've done with like a lot of friends for a few years actually was we'd pick a game. So like we go on Final Fantasy or Elder Scrolls Online or something. We'll create our characters, make them look however we want them to look for the story, and then we use the map in the game and our character models for the characters and the map itself, and then the rest of it is our imagination. So like we imagine like you know we're talking to people and let's say they're not really there, we'll create like a whole nother character for a specific like villain or something like that.
Okay.
And then we have like abilities and we go with the story like that. So I've done like role play in that way. It's just I've never had the like feats and
Right.
ability modifiers and things like that. So
So in
this
Dungeons
like
and
this is something
Dragons,
for me to learn.
a big difference that you're going to find is that now, not to be blasphemous or anything, but really the DM is almost like God because
Right.
the entire I'm everyone else that's not you, right? I'm every single character that you come across. You'll be conversing with me while I role play as the various characters that you talk to, and I tell you what happens, and then you tell me how you react to what happens, and I tell you if it's even possible for you to do such a thing, right? Like I'm in complete control of the situation so that there's organization, so that it's not chaos, so that the world is consistent and the story is consistent and all of those kind of things. So I don't know if in the role play that you had, like someone else would add to the story and say, okay, now two orcs come into the room, right? No, you only control yourself, and then the DM
Yeah.
controls everything else.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much like how we would have it. So for specific like arcs, we call them. So like I guess I don't know what you call it in D&D, but basically it's like imagine you have a villain for one part of the story that's not going to be present, let's say in the next part of the story. Call that an arc. And one person typically like ran that arc. So all the NPCs, what happens, all that stuff. And then after that was done, I guess unlike D&D, someone else could do the next one. Whereas I guess in D&D, like only the DM is running each like all parts of the story. But yeah, yeah. So I kind of like I get that part. Um, it's just I guess like having to stick to specific feats and skills and things like that. That's probably the new part for me.
Yeah, it tries to keep things really organized, and it tries to allow you to really customize your character according to a rule set that's just really consistent. You know what I mean? That's what adds to a concept that D&D is known for, which is called verisimilitude. And
Hmm.
that word means um, it's like your suspension of disbelief, like your ability to get wrapped up into the game and it's real to you. Like all of these is an attempt to create that.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Um, so now that you have all of that, you got your skills looking pretty good. No?
Yeah, yeah. I finished them.
Okay, good. So again, that's your level one. Now, here is actually one of the most important charts. You'll be going to this chart every single time that you level up. For every character, every class has one of these charts. And even though it says monk right here, that's just the next chapter. But so this is the fighter class chart, and we're level 6, so we're going to be considering all of this information from here back. Now, one thing that we need to consider just momentarily before we do this is at level 1, humans get 1 extra feat. There's a section on each race. Personality, physical description, not important. Relations, not important because that's campaign related in this. The relations in this is all races hate humans because humans are made in the image of God.
Okay.
So that's not going to be quite the same. Racial traits, that's where we're going to be looking at. Your base land speed is 30 feet, so find speed base and put 30 there, and then you'll add your dexterity modifier to that as well. See that?
Speed base. Oh, at the top. Okay.
Yeah.
I see speed. So put 30.
Isn't there a base? Isn't there like a formula for it?
Is there
Let me just remember what page we're on. 13.
I'm not sure. So I have so I wasn't able to download the second page. It might be on that one. I was only able to or
No,
not download, print the second page.
it's on the first page. It's over here to the right. Okay. Yeah, you're right. It just says speed. So just put 34 there. Or wait,
34?
33 because you got 16 decks, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, 33 in speed.
Okay.
Okay. Other racial traits we got here. You get 1 extra feat at first level. And so, man, I don't know what they're doing upstairs, dude, but it's like they're breaking up apart large pieces of furniture and just like slamming the broken pieces on the ground. I swear that's what it sounds like is happening above me right now. Can you hear it?
No, I can't. If you want to go check on them, you can. I actually need to use the restroom and check on my son real quick.
No,
So,
I don't. You go ahead, but I'm not
all
checking
right,
on them.
all
I
right,
know,
I'll
I
be right
know
back.
they're up there. They're up there, probably getting ready to move out. So, anyway, what's up, chat? I know I've been focusing on helping our friend Bones get his character generated, so I haven't really talked to you guys much out there. So, how's it going while we're waiting on Bones? We got Twitchy out there. What's up, man? Mad Cat still in the house. Paladin. I don't think that paladins do get some kind of mount in 3.5. Maybe I'm just forgetting that, but let's see. I don't think so. Well, maybe you can summon them out with your spell. Maybe there's a spell like that, but let's see. Where's my chart? Here. Classes, Paladin, page 42. No. There's no mount in that part, but there may be something in the paladin spells list, because paladins do have spells. There's a possibility of there being a spell like that. One second. Okay, chapter 11. Paladin spells 191. Let's see if there's any kind of mount spells for paladins. Bless. No mountain level 1. No. Hill mount. I think that's just talking about like your warhorse, like a real mount. I don't think that's talking about like a magic mount. No, no mount. No mount. Rangers and druids get an animal companion that can eventually become a mount, I think. Once you can get that size category. Fifth level paladins get a special mount. Is there something I missed on their chart? Oh, special mount. It's right there. Under class feature, special mount. Okay, cool. Yeah, I just missed them. Upon reaching 5th level, a paladin gains the service of an unusually intelligent. I think that pretty much, like, I'm pretty sure that paladins, whenever I was DMing a lot, were just very, very, very rare. So I just completely forgot about this. Nobody wants to play the goody two-shoes. Nobody wants to play lawful good. So very rarely people play paladins. But even though they're actually really good, upon reaching 5th level, a paladin gains the service of an unusually intelligent, strong, and loyal steed. Unusually intelligent, strong, and loyal steed to serve her in her crusade against evil. This mount is usually a heavy warhorse. Once per day, as a full round action, a paladin may magically call her mount from the celestial realms in which it resides. The mount immediately appears adjacent to the paladin and remains for 2 hours per paladin level. So Twitchy, you got a mount for 6 hours, man. No, wait. 12 hours. You got a celestial warhorse for 12 hours. That's pretty cool, man. I wish people played paladins more. I would have remembered that. Yeah, I couldn't do this as well. I couldn't do this as easily. Helping him create a character like this with another edition. I have to be in 3.5. You're right. I've been a DM for 3.5 since it came out, man. I'm talking about I was like 11. So, and then I was playing 2nd edition from 8 years old to 11. I was playing this around the same time that I started reading R.A. Salvatore books, Twitchy, so everything, I've like translated so many R.A. Salvatore characters into 3.5 D&D characters, it's not even funny. I used to have a character sheet for every one of his characters, dude. Cool. He gets 4 extra skill points at first level. I forgot about that too. So he'll get to pick another skill. I thought there would be more. I thought that there would be more people watching this, like from other parts of YouTube, Dungeons and Dragons fans. They'll probably come in for the actual game itself. Maybe, who knows?
Rogue, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, back.
Okay, cool. All right, so by the way, you get 4 extra skill points at level 1 for being a human. I forgot to tell you that. So pick one more skill and put 4 or 2 in the rank again. So you get one more skill. And we'll just have to remember at every level you're going to get an extra point too. So
Okay.
most of the time, people just every level they put their point in the, you know, in the thing that they already put points in. But some people like to get a bunch of different skills. It's really actually not useful to do that in some cases unless you just have an incredibly high stat and you're spreading it out, like you've got like a 20 strength or something, so you're just getting all the strength skills. But the idea is like you don't want to be a level 10 and you only picked one rank in skill, right? Because then your skill is not going to be up to par with the kind of things you're going to be coming up against that will be going against that check, you know? So you want it to reflect
Right.
how high your character is. But anyway, so what's your 5th skill that you picked?
Okay. I might decide. Does it have to be a skill that is not a black box, or can I?
No, it can be anything. Right now you're choosing between. Right now the distinction needs to be between the check mark box on the left or not. So you know what I mean. So if you do choose something that has a black box, all you're going to be doing is adding a rank to it. So you're going to increase what you've already written there.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go with. Oh man, what would be useful here? What does balance do?
So balance is good in a lot of situations, but let's get a good explanation. Skills. 66. Because I could give you some examples off the top of my head of situations that you would use it in, but oh, remember in that video I said that synergism is D&D was the first place I ever learned about synergism? It's in skill synergism, skill synergy. That's the first time I ever heard of that term. And so whenever I heard Dr. White talk about the difference between monergism and synergism, I immediately understood what he was talking about because of my understanding of this word from D&D. But anyway,
Hmm.
balance. You can keep your balance while walking on a tightrope, narrow beam, slippery edge, an uneven floor. You're like walking on a precarious surface. You need to make a check to see if you can balance. Like you're walking on a broken bridge or something, and a plank falls out from underneath you. Like that might be more of a reflex save, but also some balance might be involved if it starts swinging and stuff like that. Like just any situation where balance would realistically be um, an issue. Like
Hmm.
if you're obstructed, like you're with obstacles that would require like rubble on the floor, for example, uh, slippery floors, sloped floors, things like that.
Got you. Okay. Man, let me see. Okay,
Or
so I'm kind of torn between balance and sense motive. I feel like that could be useful
so
too.
sense motive is going to help you. That's going to be what you roll against a lie. So when someone lies to you, you roll a sense motive every time. And so if you have skill in that, then of course you, ow, keep hurting myself. If you have skill in that, then you would just be more skillful at detecting lies for the most part. Though there are some other uses. Let's see what they are listed as. There might be some other useful. And sense motive can be like a more nuanced than that too. Like I want to see if I can watch his body language and see why he's here. You know what he's doing. Like what is his motivation for being here? Is it good motivation? Bad motivation? But use this skill to tell when someone is bluffing you. You roll that against a bluff. Now to discern hidden messages in conversations, or to sense when someone is being
Hmm.
magically influenced. You can sense motive that you can sense that too. If someone is under a geese spell, you would roll sense motive against that unwittingly. Like I would just tell you, like I would just tell you roll a sense motive check usually and not tell you why. And then like if you passed, then I would tell you why because you passed and you are now aware of something that you were not aware of before. But if you failed, I all you know is I told you to roll and you don't know why, right? If you fail, then you just don't ever even get to know why.
Okay, got you.
Unless, but there are times whenever you can use it intentionally. You can use it creatively, not only in these senses, but like if you come up with a creative way to use it, like you know, uh, just for an example, if you saw like someone talking to a waitress at a bar or something, you could try to sense motive on the guy to see if his intentions are good or if he plans on hurting her. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Like you sense his any kind of creative way that you could imagine using sense motive. We would discuss it in the moment and then talk about how it would work and then we would make our rolls.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go with sense motive then.
Okay. And that's a wisdom skill. All right. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Now you need your first feat for being a level 1 human. And
Okay, where's
so
that?
we are going to go to um, feat descriptions, page 89. Well, let's go to the character sheet first. So feats is typically on the second page, but that's okay. You can write them down on a scrap piece of paper for now and like add them later or something.
Okay.
Um, it's you could even just keep them there. It just this character sheet just helps you stay organized. You know, I've had notebook paper characters plenty of times.
Okay. Yeah, got you. So feats.
Yeah, and so the feats are going to be on page 82. I thought. Okay, here's feats. I thought there was a big chart. There's a nuance I'm going to have to describe to you when we get to the fighter bonus feats because, like I told you earlier, so take Twitchy for example. He's a paladin, and so his class is directed toward a specific thing. And so on his chart for his class, it's given him these specialized abilities, right? Like it's giving him very
Hmm.
specific things for being a paladin. But for being a fighter, the main thing is that you get to choose um, more customized ways of your feats. Instead of special things that the game's giving you automatically, you get bonus feats at different levels for being a fighter. And as a human fighter, you're going to get all kinds of feats right now. It's going to be your bread and feats are your bread and butter as a human fighter. Let me see. I thought there was okay. Here's a chart. Great. So what you're going to need to do is kind of look through this chart here and anything that has a one on it. See that little one in the exponential area?
Yes. Yes.
That is able to be chosen as a fighter bonus feat. And so every character gets a feat at level 1 and then every 3 levels. So like level 1, level 3, level 6, level 9, 12, 15, 18. You get feats at all those levels. Now, but a human gets 2 feats at level 1 instead of just 1.
How many feats? Sorry.
2. Now,
Two. Okay.
you want to keep in mind this though. You have a bunch of bonus feats for your fighter, and they can only be certain things. So for these 2 feats, like your level 1 feat and your I'm a human feat, don't pick anything that has an exponential of 1. You want to save those for your bonus feats, right? Because uh, you don't want to waste a slot. You know what I mean?
Um.
I mean, you.
Nah, I'm kind of confused by that. So like,
So if
so
we
like,
let's
you're
go
saying don't pick the ones with the one first.
right. So you're getting feats for different reasons. Because you're a fighter, it's a little more complicated on the feats part. Um, at level 1, you're getting a feat just for being a level 1 anything, right? But right
Okay.
now you're also choosing a feat just for being a human being, right? And so right now you're choosing a level 1 anything feat and a human hello, I'm a human feat. But on here, if you look at your fighter chart, sorry, I lost it. Druid, fighter. A fighter gets a bonus feat at level 1, level 2, level 4, level 6, like forever. You're going to be picking so many feats right now. Like, this is going to be the longest part of it. Because you're going to be picking 3 feats right now. One for being a level 1, one for
Oh,
being a human, and one for being a level 1 fighter, right? And so this bonus feat,
okay.
the only things that you have to choose from in the bonus feats are the things that have a 1 in them on the chart we were looking at.
Oh, so don't use the other two on the ones.
Right.
Just wait for the bonus feats. Okay, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because you know you're getting a bunch. Now, if you like
Right.
really sat here and like uh, really planned it all out, really detailed, then sure, you could use one of your human feet or whatever on one of those kinds of feats if you wanted. But it's just we're talking about best practice, new to the game advice.
Okay, yeah.
So this is what we're gonna do now. We're gonna go back to the feats, and you're gonna choose one feat. This is your human feat, and just keep that. You don't even have to write it down that it's your human feat, but while you're choosing it, just keep it in your mind to help you categorize what
Okay.
we're thinking about. 89. Okay. And it would really be best if you uh, had this chart in front of you too, but I can scroll up and down when you need me to. I'm just gonna put it right here at first, wherever the top is, and then I'm going
Okay.
to walk away for just a second while you're looking, and then when I come back, I'll ask if you need to scroll. Now, okay, the general feat is that's the name of it, right? Now, the prerequisite, that means you need this to be able to get that feat, right? And so the feat that you're picking right
Okay.
now, for example, if like one of the prerequisites was being level 6, even though you are really level 6, you can't choose it for this because you weren't at the time that you chose it in real game time, right? You're just choosing this for being a
Right.
human. So you have to keep those prerequisites in mind. Now, as far as armor proficiency and stuff like that, um, you have it all with a fighter, light, medium, and heavy.
Okay.
So
What's combat expertise?
combat expertise. So it's a pretty cool skill or a feat. You'll be trading your attack bonus during a round for um, defense. Now, bear in mind, this does have a 1 in the exponential area. This is a feat that can be used as a fighter bonus feat. So,
Oh, okay.
um,
All right, so I'll wait for that. All right.
yeah, I'll wait
Um,
for that. And if you want me to keep scrolling down, I can. Like, for example, here's one that you might be interested in. Um, you picked disguise, right, or not?
I did pick this, guys.
So, if you pick the deceitful feat, that would give you +2 to disguise and +2 to forgery. Um, what else? There's just like a little synergistic thing going on there, right?
Right, right.
Um, there's some other things you could pick, like Iron Will would give you a +2 to will saves. You can't pick leadership yet. Lightning reflexes would give you a +2 to reflex saves. Um, you could pick something like magical aptitude, which would give you a bonus on spellcraft and use magic device checks, which is a rare thing for a fighter to have, but it's not unheard of. But there's other things like negotiator, for example, would give you +2 to diplomacy and sense motive checks.
Yeah, I think I see one that I would like.
What's that?
Persuasive,
Okay,
+2 on bluffing
that makes
and
sense.
intimidate checks.
Yeah, that's perfect for you, huh? Yeah, so under your feet, just go ahead and write persuasive, and put a little parentheses, +2 bluff, comma, +2 intimidate.
Okay.
And now that you have that, go back to your character sheet and add that to bluff and intimidate in the misc modifier section. You see that?
Yes.
I need to use the bathroom while you do that.
I'm back.
Dolphy, just Dolphy, out there in the chat said, finally, a real-time study. Well, I'm glad that you've been looking for that. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and you can check us out next Friday. We're building these characters to actually play a campaign starting next Friday, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Back to the feat selection.
Yes, indeed.
What?
Yeah, I already I added the +2s.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's your human racial feat, and so now what you need is your I'm a level 1 person feat. Just a level 1 anything, you get a feat. 1 second. I get real thirsty over here when I'm talking. Okay, and this is going to be another one of those things where you want to choose something that's not in the 1 category, right?
Right, right.
But you technically could. It's just that you just want to be careful, because you know that you can't use those bonus feats on things like persuasive, right? So you want to pick up any of those things that you do want. But anyway, any ideas so far about from what we've seen so far, or questions?
Yeah, I'm just reading them, trying to figure out.
Are you
What I
reading
would
them from
want.
what you can see on my screen, or do you have it too?
No, from what I can see on your screen.
Okay.
I don't have it. I wish I had it, because then I'll be able to just speed through them. But
So there's things like stealthy or track. You don't have the survival skill, but I mean, it can be used untrained. There's crafting skills as well, or feats as well. Actually, those are skills. My bad. That crafting I was looking at was magic crafting. Sorry, that's the feat for that. Toughness would give you +3 hit points. Well, tell me where you want me to go. Up or down, or stay where I'm at?
Oh, just stay where you're at real quick so I can
All right.
just read them.
You got it. It really just depends, Indiana. He said, how long does a game last? It's really up to circumstances, up to the DM, how long he plans for the campaign to go, or however many sessions you guys play is however many it goes, you know? Usually you try to keep it tight to like one adventure per session so that the adventure is wrapping itself up at the end of each session. That's best. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah, so I have a question. The so you know how the 1s are for the bonus, are also the 2s and 3s for the bonus as well?
Okay, great question. So the 1 is a fighter may select this feat as one of his fighter bonus feats. The 2 is you can gain this feat multiple times. So that's irrelevant to the other thing, but some have a 1 and a 2, right? So like toughness, for example, you can get that over and over and over, +3 over and over. If it has a 3, you can gain this. Okay, so 2, the effects do not stack. My bad. Each time you take the feat, it applies to like a new thing, like a new weapon, a new skill, new school of magic, right? But some feats, if they have a 3 next to it, you get that feat and the effects of that feat stack on the same thing.
Okay, so the 2s apply to specific things.
Right,
Okay.
like weapon focus has a 2 on it because that would be weapon focus longsword or something like that, right?
Okay.
Whereas toughness with a 3 is like, I'm just tougher every time I pick this. It goes to my hit points, directly to my hit points.
Okay. Is there anything for like damage? I guess that's not a 1. So I know like a lot of those are.
Kind of hard to find one that's damaged that doesn't have a 1 on it, but we might be able to find something. Well, this isn't damage, but this would actually be useful for you unless the fighter starts with this as a special feat somewhere. Let me just make sure he doesn't.
Oh, improved initiative.
Improved initiative's really, really useful. Like very highly useful. Yeah,
Had
you
something
should
like
get
that.
it.
I had something like that in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, and that basically increases the likelihood that you're going first in a combat round.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think I would like to get that improved initiative.
That's it. It's a good choice. So, that's your human level, or your human feat, and your level 1 feat taken care of. Now, you need to pick your first bonus fighter feat. And so, that's going to be one that has a 1 next to it. Whatever kind of direction you're wanting to focus your battle prowess, right? And you'll notice that these go in a line typically. Like combat expertise, for example, evolves into improved disarm. You can get improved feint, improved trip, things like that, right? And they all build off of each other. Like improved feint requires combat expertise to get it, right? And then like whirlwind attack requires a dex of 13, combat expertise, dodge, mobility, spring attack, and a base attack bonus of +4. So you got to keep in mind how intense the skill is along the tree, whether it matches your requirements. Right, you're starting at the beginning of a tree here with combat expertise.
Okay, yeah. Real quick, for the improved initiative, it was like +4, right? On initiative.
Yeah, +4 to your initiative. So that's going to be 4 plus your dexterity modifier, which is 3. So 7 +7 for your initiative. That's why archers like always go first, for the most part.
Okay. Yeah, I like to get the combat expertise.
Okay. And so that's going to make you very highly defensive when you want to be. You have to have at least an intelligence of 13 to make use of that. You got that. So go ahead and write that down, and just do trade, put next to it trade attack bonus for AC. That'll be enough. Now you might also put a parentheses of the max 5 points, because you can only trade a maximum of 5 points of your attack for additional AC. But that could come in really handy depending on what you're fighting, you know.
Yeah.
Could allow you to.
Okay, so AC is armor class, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's basically you're focusing on parrying with your weapon, and that focus is increasing your armor class.
Okay. All right, looks good.
All right. And so now, this is page 91. Let's remember that. 39, was it? Okay, and so now you get another bonus feat for being a fighter at level 2. So let's go back to 91, and you'll either pick something in that tree, or the one that you just picked, or you can pick something in something else, like combat reflexes, for example, or whatever. Ask me questions about any that you.
Yeah, so how do the attacks of opportunity like present themselves? Is it just like whenever?
Okay, so attacks of opportunity happen in situations where someone is unarmed and they don't have like unarmed fighting or something, or let's actually see if I can get you a really good book description. There's going to be many different times. Sorry, I misspelled that. $137. Okay. Okay. The melee combat rules assume that combatants are actively avoiding attacks while in combat, right? A player doesn't have to declare anything special for her character to be on the defensive during combat. Even if a character's miniature figure, I don't really use those, but we might do something with that, is just standing there on the battle grid, you can be sure that if some orc with a falchion attacks the character, she is weaving, dodging, and even threatening the orc with a weapon to keep the orc a little worried for his own hide, right? Even outside of combat actions. That's assumed to make it realistic. But sometimes, however, a combatant in a melee lets their guard down. In this case, combatants near her can take advantage of her lapse in defense to attack her for free. These free attacks are called attacks of opportunity. And to provoke an act of opportunity, for example, you can take two kind of actions to provoke an attack for opportunity. Moving out of a threatened square. So, like, if you are engaged with someone in combat, face to face, fighting each other, and then you try to move away from them, like you're trying to retreat, um, not defensively, like run, then you would provoke an attack of opportunity from them. They would get an extra attack against you that avoids your dexterity bonus to your AC.
Hmm.
Performing a distracting act. Some actions, when performed in a threatened square, provoke attacks of opportunity, like casting a spell, for example. Or if you're 2 feet in front of someone and you try to knock an arrow and shoot someone with an arrow, right? You're provoking an attack of opportunity while taking that action if you're within melee range of them. And so, someone who has a feat like, this song is cool for D&D. Someone who has a feat like combat reflexes gets additional attacks of opportunity according to their dexterity modifier. And so someone who has a high dexterity modifier is just slicing and dicing. At every chance that there's an attack of opportunity, you get like 4 instead of 1, right? And so a rogue with combat reflexes and a dagger is coming in, puncturing like 4 good times during an attack of opportunity. When someone's prone, someone slips and falls, any reasonable reason why someone's dexterity might not play a factor in their defense.
Okay. Man.
Indiana.
So I'm looking at dodge as well.
Go ahead.
But I think for this one I want to do the disarm. Improve disarm.
Improve disarm as part of your combat expertise tree. All right. And so that, go ahead and write that down. That's going to give you a +4 bonus on disarm attempts, and see what else it says. It says no attack of opportunity. So usually, if someone just tries to disarm someone, an attack of opportunity comes against them. And like, if that attack succeeds, they fail in disarming, right? But then if the attack fails, then they get a chance to roll to see if they disarm or not. You bypass that whole thing, and you don't provoke an attack of opportunity when you try to disarm someone. That's a major benefit of having that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. And so now, back to our chart. You get 1 for being any level 3 character. You just get a feat, right? And so this is going to be another one that you don't want to pick a 1 exponent. No fighter skills here, unless you just can't find anything else and you want to pick something outside of the tree that you don't think you'll go to the tree for again, like, I don't know, some kind of ranged weapon thing that you want to just have as a bonus feat somewhere, you know what I mean? That you don't intend on following the tree through with your bonus fighter feats.
Right. Oh wait, so can I choose in the middle of a feat, like a tree with one of these, instead of having to build into it?
If you have the prerequisite.
Oh. Oh wow, crazy. Okay. All right, that works. All right, can we scroll down?
Yes. Yeah, you can pick anything that you have the prerequisite for.
Okay, so what is the let's see. Wait. Okay, what does endurance read? This is +4 bonus checks on saves to resist what?
Endurance is +4 bonus on checks or saves to resist non-lethal damage. And so non-lethal damage is like when someone tries to punch you in the face. If someone punches you in the face with their fist, this check will prevent you from receiving any damage from it at all. But non-lethal damage can't kill you. Like if you get down to 0 hit points of non-lethal hit points, then you're just knocked out, and like you don't start dying. If you take lethal damage down to 0, as soon as you hit 0, you start dying, and you start losing hit points every round until you're at -10, and then you die.
Okay. Gotcha. So with Die Hard, right? It says remain conscious at -1 to -9 HP. Does that include lethal damage?
Remain conscious. Yeah. That's it. So the only time you would ever be at -1 to -9 is with lethal damage, by the way. And you have to have the endurance feat to so you wouldn't be able to pick that this level. You'd be able to pick endurance right now, and then like next level that you get a chance to pick endurance or Die Hard. But yeah, you would while some people are, they pass out and start dying at 0, you do start dying, but you don't pass out. Like you would still die at -10, but you would be awake the whole time. And if somebody punched you in the face and did enough non-lethal damage to knock you out, it wouldn't knock you out. You would just be kind of we'd probably roll some kind of fortitude save to see how aware you were, but you wouldn't be completely incapacitated with Die Hard.
Okay. Can we scroll down?
Yes.
Okay, a little bit more. Let me scroll down a little bit more.
What?
Oh, no,
get out
I'm
of your
just...
snack bag.
Oh, sorry. Okay, let's scroll more down. Sorry. Okay. Man. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go with the deceitful one.
Okay. So go ahead and write that one down and write +2 to disguise and forgery. Now, forgery is one of those black box skills, right, that anyone can do. Okay. So that was your... Yeah, that was your level 3 feat. Now you need your level 4 bonus feat for being a fighter. So, one of your ones.
Okay. Oh, it's so I choose one of my ones now. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you slide it a bit to the right?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Oh, that is so cool. I just read whirlwind attack.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Yeah, whirlwind attack is
Yeah.
pretty powerful. It's a long. You gotta have a lot of stuff to get it though. You gotta get dodge.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, you can work your way toward it. You know,
Yeah.
you might be able to
Yeah,
get it,
dodge
and
most
you could even get it within the next 4 levels. Actually, I don't think
Yeah,
you
that
can.
actually seems pretty good.
So you want to try to build towards that?
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna get dodge.
Okay. So you'll go ahead and do that. Write dodge down. You get +1 dodge bonus against a selected target. And so, for example, during your action, when it's your turn in a round, you designate an opponent. Like you might be fighting 3 people, for example. You'll designate one of the opponents that you'll receive a +1 dodge bonus to your armor class against that opponent only. And then you can select a new opponent anytime you have a standard action to make. And it doesn't take a standard action to select them, but you can only select it when you have a fresh standard action.
Okay.
So that's pretty useful, especially if you're fighting more than, well, really in any situation. Even in one-on-one, it's even more useful because then it's just you and them. But anyway, you get it. Dodge, and then what's next? I can think mobility and spring attack. So we'll hold off on that real quick, and let's go back to the fighter tree and see that was your 4 bonus feat. You get nothing for level 5, and now here's your last 2 feats. You get and you can use one of these on that if you want. One is your bonus feat for being a fighter of level 6, and then 1 is a feat for being a character of level 6 of any kind. So you get 2 right now. Obviously your bonus feat can only be used on something with a 1 on it, but your level 6 feat can be used on anything.
So level, I just chose with. Did I just choose? Do I get anything for level 5? Sorry.
No, nothing for level 5 as far as feats go.
Oh, okay, got you. All right.
And
So I get
then
2 more on this one.
yeah, now you get 2 for level 6. And so if you still wanted to keep building towards that as fast as possible, you could get spring attack now. You could get spring attack now. And yeah, mobility and then spring attack. And then the next time that you get a feat, you would be able to pick whirlwind.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact,
Yeah.
if you want to do this, you can exchange one of those feats that you picked earlier for dodge, one of those non-fighter bonus feats, and use it on a fighter feat, and so that you can have whirlwind attack right now if you want. Or you can wait until the next time you get a feat. It's up to you if you like what you picked. I'm just giving you that option.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna stick with it, considering I didn't think of this till now.
Cool.
I'm guessing like on an actual campaign, I probably, well, like if we weren't starting at level 6, I probably would have just thought of it. So yeah,
So
I'm
the
just gonna
spring attack is really
pick.
cool, man. Um, so that 34 that you have, or 33 that you have in your speed, um, that's how many feet you can move in 6 seconds while in combat. So, like when combat starts, you can move 33 feet and strike within that, because every round of combat is 6 seconds in real time,
Okay.
or game time. Real time, it's however long it takes everybody to say what they're doing. But okay, so but with the spring attack though, you can move 33 feet, attack, and then move another 33 feet. And so your mobility is literally doubled of anyone else on the field that doesn't have this.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like if I strike one down, then I can move on to the next opponent.
Yeah, well, you could, yeah, you could do that, and because you have 2 attacks right now as a level 6 fighter, which you wouldn't have known about at level 1, we'll get to that in a minute, then you're right, it is going to be particularly useful for you as a fighter, because yes, you can move 33 feet, slice one thing, then move another 33 feet for your next attack. Actually, no. This is an additional beyond that. This is additional beyond that, because you get to move, attack, move. And then when you get your second attack, you move, attack, move. So your dude is moving a lot.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you got a lot of movement. But you got to just be careful and realize the idea that you get attacks of opportunity against you for moving away from people that you're fighting, but this mobility that you picked gives you a +4 dodge bonus to AC against some attacks of opportunity, which include that moving away stuff. So you guys just got really solid by adding that mobility on top of that against attacks of opportunity. Rogues are going to hate fighting against you. And the spring attack is really great too. So that's all your feats. That's all your feats. So that wasn't so hard.
Okay. Well, let me write it down. So it's mobility +4. What? Oh, dodge bonus.
Dodge bonus against some attacks of opportunity. And we can look more closely into that when we need to.
Okay. And then the next one is spring attack.
Yep. And that one is just move before and after melee attack. When everyone else can only move before their melee attack.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so that's all your feats. So let me think for a second. With a fighter, after you get your feats done, you're about done. Nobody gets that many feats, right? Usually wizards are spending all their time picking spells like you just did with feats.
Okay.
Let me zoom out of this a little.
Yeah, I really wanted the the improved disarm, because I think I did something like that in Baldur's Gate, where I was able to disarm enemies. They have to like pick up their weapons again.
Yeah, that's really
So-
useful in those games. Very useful in those games. You see the part of the character sheet that says saving throws, fortitude, reflex, and will?
Yes.
Okay, so your base save is what I'm about to give you in the order that it sits. So you'll write three
Okay.
numbers in the base save here. Let me go to the chart again. So your base saving throws for a fighter of level 6 is 5, 2, 2.
5, 2, 2. Okay.
And now you'll notice, again, just like the skills, there is an ability that is tied in with each of those saving throws, right? And so next to the formula, next to base, there's going to be ability modifier again. And so you'll just correlate. It shows you there, for example, fortitude is constitution. So go ahead and add your ability modifiers that correlate to each of those saving throws and make that the total.
Yeah. All right. 2.
Okay. That part's pretty easy. Now we'll determine your hit points, which I think my idea is actually we're going to go with max hit points through the whole thing. Just maximize your hit points, because I want a really strong campaign. So your constitution is what, 14?
Yes.
Okay. So fighters at every level get a die 10 for the hit points. So a fighter, just any old fighter, gets 10 hit points every level if they're maxing it out. You, on the other hand, every level get 12 hit points because you have a +2 constitution modifier. So 10 plus 2, 12 every level. So 12 times 6, 12, 1, 72. That's your hit points.
It's a lot of hit points.
Yeah, hard to take down. I wanted to do really strong characters because we're not going to be fighting easy stuff. I want to have a great campaign that's really fun to watch online. Instead of, fighting sewer rats for the whole first level,
Yeah.
like, Anyway, so armor class, you'll see that's another formula there. Everything's a formula. But this, everyone's base is 10. See that?
Yes.
And so you will have an armor bonus, which we'll decide later, so never mind. Just put the dex modifier in and leave the total alone.
Okay.
Misc modifier, go ahead and put a 1 there in misc modifier, but put a parenthesis around it. That's your dodge, remember?
Oh, yeah.
So just put a parenthesis around it. That way you know not to add it to your total. You know it's there, so you don't accidentally forget that you have that 1 to add every round.
Okay.
Initiative you should already have. We might be ready to start purchasing gear, really. So okay, base attack bonus.
Initiative. Wait.
Yeah, initiative is dex
Oh, you said,
modifier
7.
plus your 4 for misc modifier for your feet.
3. 3, 4. 7. Oh yeah, that's a +7. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, the total is +7. And then for your base attack bonus, you're going to put right kind of small, put +6 slash +1. Now remember, you have 2 attacks each round now because you're a level 6 fighter. from level 1 to level 5, it looked like this: level 1 plus 1, level 2 plus 2, all the way to level 5. But then at level 6, it becomes plus 6 slash plus 1 because you now have gained a second attack.
Okay.
So your first attack of the round is more accurate than your second attack, right? That's
Right.
what that means. Like because this is all taking place in 6 seconds. Both of those attacks are. So your first attack is more accurate, and then your second attack is taking place faster. So these are what you're adding to whether or not you actually successfully hit something. This isn't doing anything about your damage. It's not adding to your damage in any way. This is just your accuracy in hitting something with melee or ranged.
Okay.
Grapple is going to be your base attack bonus, which you'll use your biggest number. If it's not, right, because the second number is your second attack, and a grapple would only be taking into consideration your primary base attack.
Okay.
So 6 plus strength modifier, so 6 plus 4. 10 grapple. That's pretty good. And now we are going to need to look at something else, actually. Dungeons and Dragons 3.5 DM's Guide Character Wealth over level 1. Actually, let's see if I can find it here. I might just have to find the core rulebook. Here we go, DM's Guide. Oh, I'm not sharing that one with you, am I? It's okay. Just hold tight, and I'll get it, and I'll be back in a second. I'm looking at another book right now. Campaigns, characters. Classes, prestige classes, how NPCs improve. Creating PCs above first level, page 199. Trying to find something very specific here. I might have passed it up already because it's black and white. It's throwing me off, I think. I'm not used to black and white on this. Character created. Let me look at one more thing. Maybe I can find a more relevant listing. Let's see. It's been a while since I've looked for something so detailed as this. I'm lucky I even remember that this chart exists, but but I do. I don't know how I remember so much stuff. But I know it's here somewhere. Give me just a second, I'll find it, man.
You're good.
I swear it should be at 199. Let me see what else Google can tell me. You know, maybe I should go to character wealth by level. Maybe that would help me. Let's go to treasure. Maybe. 1 second. Let's try page 51 and see if we can get anything out of that. I don't know if it's there or not. Treasure value per encounter. Average treasure results. Here's the percentage table. Building treasure. This is it, the wealth comparisons. This is it. No, that's not it. That's not it. 1 second. I'll find it, and it's gonna be really cool when I find it. Okay. Character wealth or new character above level 1 D&D 3.5. Okay, yeah, character wealth by level. Where's that out? 135. How does AI know where that is? That's crazy, dude. AI just automatically researched this whole thing already. Just had it handy. They're like, yeah, duh, man. It's on page 135.
That's crazy.
Character wealth by level. There we go. All right. So you have 13,000 gold pieces. Because we're starting at level 6. That's what you would have realistically accumulated by your level.
Someone said that the wealth comparisons were on page 54.
Yeah, wealth comparisons is party. That's party levels. I thought about that too, but man, there's more charts than dispensationalism in D&D. Okay, so write that down on the scrap. Don't write that down on your total for, oh, well, that's on the back page anyway, I think. So just write that 13,000 gold on some scrap. And the first thing that you're going to use that on is going to be this. I'm going to give you guys the ability to purchase one magical item of your choice with your starting 13,000. Magical items are kind of hard to come by at low levels, so it's pretty good to have one, but with 13,000 gold you can afford one. So whether you want that to be a weapon or a piece of armor or some kind of set of potions or like a magic ring or a wondrous item even, that's up to you. And there would be a lot of reading involved to like come to your conclusion of what you want here. And so, um, or you can narrow it down to if you want a magic sword, and then you can pick from that to make it easier. But like
Mm.
it would we would be talking about like a piece of armor, like you would have magic set of studded leather or a magic sword. And we're talking about low level magic. We're talking about like a +1 longsword, which would be 2,000 gold, plus 300 for being masterwork quality, and then plus, I think, like 18 gold for being a longsword. So just as an example, the, the quality of
Mm.
magic item that you can buy of magic weapon would cost you about 2,300 gold plus the cost of the base item. And so just to keep that in mind. And then there's other things. Let's go there. Let's go to the magic item charts where it's explaining this. Like, let's just look at weapons, for example. Did you say you're using two-handed weapons, two-handed swords?
Yeah. I wanted to do
Okay.
kind of like a long sword, great sword sort of thing.
Yeah, so a long sword would be one-handed, and then a great sword would be two-handed, and that would be a 2d6 damage. It's a lot of damage.
Okay.
So you see here on this weapon, magic weapon chart, table 7-9 here. Do I need to zoom in on it? There,
Let's see.
this one.
I like through the stream.
Oh yeah, I'm scared. I'm sharing the other. My bad. I forgot that I'm sitting here sharing a completely different screen with you. Dungeon Master's Guide. There. See this weapon chart right here? So
Yes.
the +1 bonus costs 2,000, and so it could either be, oh, like for example, you probably have seen in Baldur's Gate like a +1 two-handed sword. Like
Yeah.
what a +1 two-handed sword would do is it would magically add 1 to both your attack bonus and the damage that is done by that weapon. Just a magical quality of it. It's just extra 1 damage. Or there's also a chart here where it's something that correlates with that level of bonus. Let me explain what I mean. Like before, see how this says base price modifier +1 bonus?
Yes.
So like a +1 two-handed sword, that would cover that +1 bonus. But like if you didn't get a +1 two-handed sword, instead what you got was a two-handed sword of shocking, or like a shocking two-handed sword, or like a flaming two-handed sword, or a two-handed sword of frost. Any one of those would also count as a +1 bonus, right? And
Oh, I see.
so you wouldn't be able to get a +1 shocking sword, right? That would be a +2 bonus, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. So like if you
Okay.
chose
So
to
what is?
go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna ask. What is mighty cleaving?
Mighty cleaving. So mighty cleaving is a skill that you'll be shocked at what this does. I just want to read it so I'm being really accurate.
Okay.
Mighty cleaving. A mighty cleaving weapon allows a wielder with the cleave feat, by the way, you have to have the cleave feat to make
Oh.
use of that, to make one additional cleave attempt in a round. And that is very, very highly useful, especially if you're going to get somebody with a shield. But then again, you don't have cleave. But I'm just explaining
Yeah, I
it.
don't. Yeah, I could probably get it later. I just want to build
Yeah, you can get it later.
the whirlwind. Yeah, but I guess for now, I'll just do the one great sword with
+1,
+1. Yeah.
not any of the specialized bonuses.
No, because the one I would want would be, I guess, mighty cleaving. So.
Cool. All right. So, backing up here, what you're buying is a great sword of that type. So it takes into consideration the masterwork quality of it. So masterwork is another thing that you can have added to, like you could have just bought a masterwork greatsword, for example. And
Okay.
a masterwork greatsword has different qualities added to it. We would go find that. For me to masterwork double weapons incur double the masterwork cost to account for each head, and so it takes that into consideration when giving you the price. So it's 2,000 for the magic bonus, 350 gold for the idea that it's going on a greatsword, and then so from your 13,000 you'll subtract 2,350.
Okay. Okay, so could I go masterwork without the magic? Like, how does this work?
Yes.
Could I buy one, I guess?
Yeah, you could. It's just that you could buy a masterwork weapon, but the only reason it throws this nuance in here is because all magic weapons are masterwork weapons, but not all masterwork weapons are magic weapons. Get it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
I'll be right back though. I gotta use the bathroom really quick.
Okay.
Okay, so for the masterwork bonus, that's actually where the accuracy bonus is coming from on your magic weapon. So the masterwork itself is adding +1 to the attack bonus, while the magic is adding +1 to the damage. If you get just a masterwork weapon, then it wouldn't add it to the damage, it's only adding it to the attack.
Okay. All right. So, how much did you say it was? It was 2350.
Let me actually be sure on that. Let me actually look at one thing real quick. Because I might have been doing something wrong in the past. I just considered this. A masterwork weapon is finely crafted version of a normal weapon. Wielding it provides a +1 enhancement bonus on attack rolls. Okay, I was right. 1 second. Let me think of. Let me. Man, I can't stop coughing right now. Okay. So yeah, this is good, and I've done this wrong in the past, but I'm a lot older now. So two, because it's a masterwork magic weapon, you get the masterwork, and you get the +1 to the attack roll part. So what you want to do is go to the part. I'll share the other screen with you now. On your character sheet, go to the first weapon slot. Corbin, please take your tablet out of here, okay? Please take your tablet out of here. It makes crazy noises the whole time it's on. Please take it. Okay. So in this slot right here, the first under grapple where it says attack, those are your weapon spots. And so in the main box for attack, you're going to write, and you might want to abbreviate it. +1 greatsword. I mean, you might not have to abbreviate that much. I've had people with a lot of magic qualities added to weapons, though, and it gets wild up in there. So +1, +1 greatsword, and so the attack bonus. There's the formula is not inside of this. We're just going to the formula. We're going to calculate that formula outside of this, and then put the total in the box. The formula doesn't exist here like it does at other places. The attack bonus for this is going to be, you're going to have two numbers, just like in your base attack bonus. It's going to be something / a lower number, right?
Okay.
Something / a number that's exactly 5 points lower than the first number, actually, to make that easier for you.
Yeah.
Base attack bonus for the first attack is 6. And then +4 because of your strength modifier, making that 10. And then +1 because of the masterwork quality of the weapon, and then +1 for the magic bonus. So you've got a total of 12 for your first attack. +12 / +7.
Okay, so +12 / +7. Okay.
Damage is going to be right small. 2d6. So 2d6.
Okay.
Plus 5. It's 4 for your strength modifier, and then an extra 1 for the magic component of the weapon. So 2d6 plus 5 that's massive damage, bruh. Like, that's a lot of damage. That's like taking a big chunk out of an ogre on the first swing damage.
Okay.
Um,
6 plus.
range and type. We're not going to worry about that right now. So the critical on it, because it's a blade, is going to be a 19-20. And that means that it's a critical hit if you roll a 19 or a 20. Doesn't have to be a 20 to be a critical hit. But so you roll, if you roll a 19 or a 20, then you roll again. And if it's a successful hit the second time, then it's a critical hit and you multiply the damage by 2.
Oh, so I have to roll 19 or 20 twice.
No, all you have to do is roll a successful hit the second time. It doesn't have to be a 19 or 20 the second time. It can just be any, whatever it has to be a successful hit in general. And,
Man, I can, like, one-shot people.
oh yeah, man, then you'll be doing crazy damage. But you know what? Let's just to be sure, let's look really quick. I think, what page is that on? 136, if my memory serves me correctly. It does not serve me correctly. 176. Okay, let's just go to the beginning. I used to have all this stuff memorized when I was a kid. I used to remember exactly what page to go, man. I can't remember it that well anymore.
Yeah, after this, I gotta get going.
Do what?
After this, I have to get going.
Okay.
My wife is waiting for me. So.
What was I looking for? Did I say?
I think you were something with the weapons. We were talking about critical hits and such.
Oh yeah, I'm looking for. The weapon chart. Oh, equipment, here it is. Weapons, 112. 112, okay. Just to be sure of the critical, because I don't remember if it's 19 to 20 on a great sword. I thought I did for a second, but I started second guessing myself. Well, where is the great sword? Okay, here it is. Yeah, it is a 1920 times 2. Okay. 19 to 20 times 2. I was right about that part. And I was right about the damage too. 2 die 6.
Okay, is there anything else we need to go over?
Well, you just need to finish spending that money. You gotta buy so much gear. And so if you go to the player's handbook sometime and just go to the gear section over here in like page 116, all this area, you're gonna find weapons, armor, and adventuring gear. And you need to stack yourself up with all 3 categories.
Okay, can I find this online?
Yeah, just anywhere online or on Google. Type in Dungeons and Dragons 3.5 Player's Handbook PDF. Find that PDF, and you'll spend the rest of your gold. If you get something like a masterwork bow or something, you'll just add 300 gold to whatever the base price is for masterwork quality items. Email me with any further questions. But for the most part, you just need to.
Just the buying. Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, also it says on the top, I see size, age, height, weight, eyes, alignment, deity, hair, skin.
Yeah, all of that. That's really all up to you. It's now in this campaign setting, prior to the flood, the human lifespans were a lot longer, and so I'm going along with that too, actually. And so really you can be realistically whatever you want in age. It doesn't really matter. because I'll give you a little bit of information. Um, well, you got to go. So you got to go. That would take me a long time to explain.
Okay, yeah, we'll just talk about it, I guess, the next time.
Yeah.
We'll be getting together next Friday, correct?
Yeah, and we've got
Okay.
enough to play, and we could finish out the gear and stuff. But just try to finish out your gear throughout the week, and so it'll be ready. And if you have any questions, just ask me. But it's pretty self-explanatory. Just be as creative as you can in your mind of how you would think about using different adventuring gear. You're gonna need rope. You gotta have flint and steel if you want to make a fire, right? You gotta have camping gear. You gotta have anything that you think you might need. You need a disguise kit, remember? And so just look through all that stuff, and again, just email me if you have any questions, man. We got the hardest part done.
Okay, sounds good. All right, well, thank you for teaching me. Appreciate it.
All right, man.
All right,
All right, have a good one. See you around, man. All right, what's up? What's up, chat? So we got a lot done in those 3 hours on his character. Oh man, I'm too tired now, dude. I'm about to fall asleep. But there's a lot of good information here in this video that should help you walk through it, honestly, because if you pull up the PDF of the player's handbook, you can do the exact same thing we did, except just follow the chart for yourself. And like whatever class you're picking, whatever race you're picking, you just follow the same steps we followed, except as they pertain to your character. And you can send me some emails. You got my email. Okay, cool. Well, the DM's guide isn't going to be real useful for you. It'll help you learn some rules, but the player's handbook is definitely what you want. And if you have the player's handbook, what we did during this video will get you most of the way through. And then if you have questions, I can hook you up the rest of the way. We got a paladin and a fighter so far, and you saw his character. He's heavy damage fighter. So we got more of a tank, semi-spell casting paladin, holy smiter kind of fighter, goody two shoes, lawful good character. And then we got this guy. He hasn't actually chosen his alignment yet, but you saw his build. And so we got two fighters, and so you might want to choose more, maybe one of the, you might want to choose either a ranged combat person, like a rogue, or a ranger, though a ranger is pretty close to a fighter. You would, or some kind of spellcaster. But yeah, I'm too tired to do that again, my brother. Sorry to say. I'm about to get off here and get me something to eat and then probably pass right out. Get up and do a bunch of homework. Cool, man. Sounds good, dude. I would highly suggest, just for parties, just for the sake of the party itself, like the functions in the party, that you at least consider going with either a wizard or a sorcerer, or a cleric or a druid, or a rogue or a bard. Consider one of those areas. That's two options in each category that the party could use, right? Because we got two fighter types already. And so in the stealth category, but with a little magic nuance though, you got the bard who can throw some arcane stuff in there. But it's more of a, that category, rogue slash bard, is more of a skill category, a function category, because they have a high level of skills. And it's just that the rogue has backstab damage and stuff like that, where the bard has more musical, magical spells and stuff like that. And then, of course, the difference between a wizard and a sorcerer is the wizard uses intelligence for his spells, while the sorcerer uses charisma. They use the same kind of spells, but the way they use them are differently. The wizard is like an academic person who studies and learns magic in like a legalistic way, I guess you would say, with a spell book and a set of ingredients and a set of exact motions, all that other stuff. While a sorcerer is more of a, he's not a studier. Like, he doesn't have to study spell books. He just has this inherent magic about him that wizards kind of envy. And there's different bonuses for being whichever one, but you use the same spells as a wizard, but you just naturally cast these spells without needing to study, without needing a spell book, stuff like that. It's just inherent knowledge. And then a cleric is a priest, like you would be an actual priest, and you would like cast clerical spells like healing or buffs or like summoning spells or stuff like that. Or a druid is another like divinity based spell tree, but it's nature. It's like a nature based spells. And so, just to give you kind of a rundown of the other kind of things, pick human. I know I said I was going to leave it open for people to pick other races, but pick human. It's too important to the campaign setting for you to be human, since like we're in a biblical worldview, and it's Anti-Deluvian, and like it just goes with the story, trust me, for everybody to be human. But yeah, man, send me, even before cleric or bard. Those are two very different classes, by the way. I hope you meant cleric or bard, not like cleric slash bard, because that actually wouldn't go very well together. But yeah, both clerics and bards have their uses. They're both useful in various ways. You can read about them in the player's handbook to get some more information. As far as like deities and stuff like that, we're not playing around with that stuff. They do exist in the world, but there's a cathedral in this town that we are in that is like a cathedral to the one God, the creator God. So that's like, for example, Twitchy is a paladin. The order is called the Order of the Way, and it's actually an order in the story. The order is created by Enoch himself. And in the campaign, Enoch has all of these scriptures written where he's got basically like a doctrinal understanding up to Paul's level, except that his gospel is this rudimentary, like basic level understanding that God will come as a man and crush the head of the serpent. That's all he really knows about the gospel. It just hasn't developed further than that yet. And there's a prophecy that says sometime in the near future, God is going to have had enough, and he's going to destroy the entire planet with a flood. And the Order of the Way is just kind of awaiting that destruction, right? They're like, the prophecy is no one is going to be spared, not even people who are in the order. Like, it's almost like a stoic thing the priests and the paladins and the clerics and all that stuff in the order are all awaiting certain destruction at the hands of the flood, and they're just preaching salvation, preaching eternal life through faith in the coming serpent crusher. Yeah, it's gonna be an awesome campaign, dude. It's gonna be so cool. This is gonna be the coolest campaign I ever thought of. All right, y'all. I'm tired, man. I gotta go